Good evening, everyone, and welcome to week 12 in CU 122. Chef Suzanne and I welcome you to another fine and final live session here in CU 122. And it's kind of a bittersweet goodbye for both of us because this has been a fantastic class that we have worked with, and we've had a lot of great experiences with all of you. And so from me, and I know from Chef Suzanne as well, and I'll speak on her behalf, but we thank all of you for being a part of this, allowing us to be a part of your journey here at Escoffier for the past 12 weeks. And it's been our pleasure to work with all of you. Chef Suzanne, do you have you want to coattail on that?
I do actually, because someone just asked if they would see us again, and I would like to say hopefully y'all will see us again. We never really know where we're going to be, what courses that we'll be in, so it is entirely possible that we will see you all again. But even if we aren't your instructor or evaluator, you still know how to reach us. The exact same contact information, nothing's changing. So, and have just been honored to be with all of you. I've had such an enjoyable 12 weeks. I really and truly have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just to continue with what Chef Suzanne was saying, it's very important in this industry to continue to network and kind of bounce things off one another. And we have a lot of students, prior students, that reach out and say, hey, I'm thinking about going to work here. What do you think? Or it's always good just to maintain those relationships as long as you can. We really enjoy hearing from all of you after you're finished with the course about your successes and your challenges and advices and all these other kind of good things. So please continue to reach out and talk to all of us. We really, really appreciate that. I think I'll be seeing some of you around the corner in CU 132. Yes, thank you very much. Chef Suzanne, are you with me in CU 132?
I don't think so. I think I'm with you in 122 again, and then I'm also in 101 with Chef Caesar.
Oh, that breaks my heart. That breaks my heart.
Me too.
Yes. All right, ladies and gents, I know week 11 was a big success for all of us here with the eclairs, and I know that a lot of great assignments were submitted, and I'd like to pass it over to Chef Suzanne so she can share some of the things that she discovered.
I would love to share. And like I said, I really got on a roll sending out, hey, can I use your pictures? And I could have used more. I'm still grading. And I think this particular week is, I don't necessarily know that hard is the word, but very different from pretty much anything we've done so far. And so to see some of the incredible work that came out of eclairs just blows my mind. So we'll start it off with Hector. He just did so much great stuff with his eclairs are nice and hollow the way they should. I love that he drew the lines on his parchment because someone else was asking me, hey, what can I do to keep them consistent and make sure that they're all the same length? And Hector nailed it. I actually have circles drawn on my own Silpat in Sharpie for when I do different things, and it's my own Sharpie or my own Silpat, so I draw on it. So Hector did amazing. Gary just knocked it out of the park with his presentation. These are the kind of thing where I'm not gonna lie. This one here, Michaela's, is like I instantly was hungry, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to ask her if I can use this picture because this one made me instantly hungry. And the same thing with David's too. And I love his plate. I don't know what it says underneath here, but I just love it. And they look gorgeous. And you can even see where he piped it. And it looks like he may have used like a star tip. So you can see the lines in the inside of his eclair. And this will make sense here. Some students, I started something a little new this course that I've never done before, where occasionally I would be grading and doing a feedback, and I would offer a challenge just for fun. Hey, let me see you do something really special with your pie crust, or I'd like you to do the presentation if your bread was on the cover of Food and Wine magazine. This week, if your eclairs were used as part of a dessert marriage proposal photo. So some folks were asked to include a photo like that just for fun. And V is an example of someone who was like, I'm going to roll with that. I'm going to knock this out of the park. And so she had fun, and you can tell. Tanisha, she made truffles, chef. She took that leftover ganache and made truffles.
Wow.
I know, right?
Happy house there, I bet.
I'm hoping so, because I was like, oh, truffles. Christy, I love when she presents because she normally pairs her food with something. So this one, I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe that is a stout beer that she
Looks like a Guinness.
to serve with that. Anthony also went with the marriage proposal desserts, and and they're gorgeous. These presentations are so much fun. Look at that! Doesn't that look super good?
Wow. Wow.
Dawn amuses me and makes me smile every week. Can you see what that says in the middle? Dessert do eclair. And on top of that, his pictures looked amazing. There was so much ganache this week. It wasn't required. It was something that you could do. Another one here. Can you see the "Marry Me" in the background? So this is another one. Wedding rings in the front. These gorgeous pictures. And so they went above and beyond.
Wow, those look great.
Don't those look amazing?
Yes.
Can you see why I had a really hard time? And I believe Elanka here had a pool party with some teenagers that I am pretty certain devoured these. Hector, again, was like, oh, I can't just have my mise en place look amazing. Here's my presentation. It looks great too. So wow. Kenneth, also, see, look at that. It was a yes. And I cut it off, but there's even some rings down in the corner.
Oh.
I know Kenneth is a softie. We all suspected, but no one could really prove it. And then Patrick with his beautiful presentation. So that's why I had a really hard time this week, because it's like every one I opened, there was more pictures. And I'm still grading. There's so many assignments that have come in this week that I've been grading like a mad woman.
This class rocks. I have to be honest. And we were walking down the street today. We went by this French pastry shop, and they had eclairs. And I walked by, and I honestly thought to myself, I need to give some of my students a recommendation to work here so they could help them with their eclairs. Because they needed some of that Escoffier touch. And I think some of those eclairs that we just looked at were far better and far more attractive than we saw in the French pastry shop today. So
I agree. And so, like I said, every week it's so much fun to open up these assignments, and I love the challenge. It's just something I just started this time around, and I think I'm going to keep doing that, having just fun challenges that I just give out to students just for fun, because it really kind of helps with some inspiration, new stuff, and it makes me smile just looking at it. I mean, I just have like, come here, kids, come look at this. Hey, come look at this. Look what V did. Look at this. So, I mean, it's just so much fun. I've had such a good time.
So thank you, everybody, for all the great pictures over the past 12 weeks. I think virtually everybody in this class deserved to have their picture up there. Unfortunately, it would have taken a lot of time for all the live sessions to have that, so certainly don't feel bad if yours didn't make it, because it certainly deserved to be up there, but it's more of a time constraint. Hey, if anybody wants extra credit, take the end of course survey, please. It is posted at the top of the class page. It is extra credit, and we do appreciate all the feedback you can get, or we can get. We take the feedback that we receive here from all of our students at Escoffier to help the program improve and help the program get better. And it's something that all of you will learn in your journey as a chef. Initially, when you hear feedback about your work, you get a little bit defensive because we're chefs. However, the older you get, the more realistic you become, and you utilize that feedback to make things better. So everybody, we urge you to please, immediately following this live session, go onto the class page, take 5 minutes, do the end of the course survey, and get that extra credit. It's worth a big bump to your grade. We heard from a couple of people this week that they're right at that 98, 99 mark, and they want to get it up to 100. There's your chance. We'll lift it right up. So we appreciate all the great feedback we can get from everybody. and it will help us improve the course. Let's take a look at our week this week and see what we have going on. All right, everybody, end of course survey. Make sure you take the time, extra credit, immediately following this. We haven't mentioned this yet, but your assignment for week 12 is due no later than this Sunday, June 23rd by 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. We go dark on Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have to get the course wrapped up before June 26th, so we cannot accept any late assignments. Once again, your week 12 assignment is due no later than Sunday, June 23rd at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please do not contact us Monday morning with an emergency saying that X, Y, and Z. Work ahead of the curve. Stay ahead. Do not procrastinate this week because there is no time. So any questions about that? Awesome. Ladies and gents, thank you very much for getting all of your makeup assignments in yesterday. As we have announced many, many times, all makeup assignments were due no later than Tuesday, June the 18th. And so that is closed off. We cannot accept any more. Once again, we're trying to get the course wrapped up. And most importantly, this has been an awesome class. Chef Suzanne and I truly appreciate the opportunity to be a part of your experience here at Escoffier. And I don't know who put this in here down here, but it looks like, is that Game of Thrones? What is that from?
No, tell me there's at least one any WWE fans? Anybody? That is it The Miz? Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody nod. I think it's The Miz. Yeah, I think I saw a nod. That's a wrestler, Chef. And I hate to even admit that I know that because my husband watches it religiously like every Monday, and every time that particular gentleman is ready to come on the screen, they play this thing in the background that goes, awesome! And so that's every time I think about awesome now, that's all I think of. And I was like, I couldn't think of his name. I messaged my husband. I was like, what? The Miz. See, The Miz. See, we have some WWE fans. And I think I'm now one, whether I want to admit it or not. So
chef life, right? All right, ladies and gents, moving on to our next thing. Each week we like to share with you a little bit of chef-ism that we look up to, and Thomas Keller is one of our biggest heroes. I love him. The French Laundry, Per Se in New York City, and many other restaurants that he owns. He was the first chef ever to be able to coach the American team after 30 years to a gold at the Bocuse d'Or, which is the ultimate competition for any chef team to participate in. And he is the one that did it. But beyond that, beyond being extremely successful in the restaurant industry and as a chef, he is a motivator and helps young people get into the industry and become successful. This is one of his greatest quotes that I really appreciate. When you acknowledge, as you must, there is no such thing as perfect food, then the idea of it, then the real purpose of striving toward perfection becomes clear: to make people happy. That is what cooking is all about. And I think that's a very profound statement. The name restaurant means a place of restoration, a place of healing. And that's what we do. We take care of other people. So always remember that throughout your journey. It's very, very important. Ladies and gents, taking a look at week 12, our assignment. Research materials. We have no knowledge checks this week. I don't want to see any tears from anybody's eyes out there, but unfortunately, we have no knowledge checks this week. If anybody's really dying for one, I'm sure Chef Suzanne and I can go ahead and put one together for you, just to go ahead and give you that feeling. Oh, research materials. Great video in there on creme brulee, which is the technique to make the baked custard. Creme brulee, baked custard, and flan. We're going to get into all of that here in just a few minutes, but you will follow the same preparation technique as the creme brulee for the baked custard this week. And then thank you very much, everybody, for being here at our final live session in CU 122 for week 12. And if you're not, make sure you watch that live session archive, extremely important. And then down here, we have our final exam, which we're going to be talking about here in just a few moments and give you some to get through it. And then in the kitchen this week, we are making baked custard, very, very important, and our prep list. But before we do our prep list, I want to make sure everybody understands that this presentation will be posted on the class page directly below the baked custard recipe immediately following the live session. So taking a look at our prep list, thank you very much everybody for being here on Wednesday. Immediately following the live session tonight, please take a few moments and take the extra or end of course survey for extra credit, very, very important. Make sure you read and understand the research materials. Study for your final exam. Take a few minutes to go back through the prior 11 weeks research materials and the 12th week research materials and have a good understanding and all of the knowledge checks. We're going to get into that here in just a moment. So on Thursday, take your final exam, get it done, and then read and understand the assignment. On Friday, take a moment, create a prep list, create a timeline, and purchase all of your mise en place, and then complete and finish your assignment on Saturday and no later than Sunday, because all assignments for week 12 are due no later than Sunday, June 23rd this week. Isn't that right, Chef Suzanne?
It absolutely is right. This is one of those weeks where there's no extensions, there's no extra anything, there's no makeups, there's nothing. It's due.
That's
and
it.
then I'm super busy.
That's it. And then what's it say down at the very bottom of the page, Chef Suzanne?
It says, when you're all done, give yourself a big high five because Chef Warren and Chef Suzanne, oh, I can't see the bottom. Where's the bottom part?
I know, that's what the problem is, because we would give you a high five if we were there.
When you're all done, give yourself a big high five because Chef Warren and Chef Suzanne are too far away, but they would if they could. So Sunday, when you get your assignment all turned, high five yourselves.
I second that. I would give every single person in this class a high five, and chefs don't do that a lot. So you guys all deserve one. Make sure you get all your assignments in no later than Sunday, June 23rd. Very, very important this week. So we don't want to have anybody miss out. Make sure you finish the course strong. Moving on towards our final exam this week. The final exam consists of 50 questions and is worth 15% of your grade. So it carries a lot of weight. You may take the final exam as many times as you like. Only the highest score will stick, right? So if you have to take it 50 times to get it good, then take it 50 times. But only the highest score will count. Once again, the exam has 50 questions. Questions are created from the knowledge checks and the research materials over the entire course. So take a few minutes, read through your research materials, read through the knowledge checks from the prior 11 weeks, and you'll have a good understanding. Allow yourself plenty of time to do it right. Chef Suzanne and I have noticed that there are a couple of you out there that like to procrastinate. Do not procrastinate when it comes to this final week. Get it done on time and early. Allow yourself plenty of time, a relaxed environment. And once you begin the final exam, you have 90 minutes to complete it for that time. I hope that makes sense. So each time you open it, you have 90 minutes to finish it. If you need to take it again and you open it again, you have 90 minutes. So the exam closes Sunday, June 23rd at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please do not call us on Monday morning saying that X, Y, and Z happened because we cannot do anything for you at that time. Do not wait for the last minute to do it. Just get it done. Live like a chef. Be a chef. Work ahead of the curve. Alejandro, what's your question, buddy?
For the Central Standard Time, if you're in the Pacific or the West Standard Time, it'd be 1 a.m. in my area, right?
Nope. It'd be 2 hours behind. So if it's 12 o'clock in Chicago, it's going to be, I believe, 10 o'clock in California.
No, I live in Georgia.
You live in Georgia, so you're going to need to look that up to make sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to rely on theory for this one or infactual information because it could get you in a little trouble. So
Okay.
make sure you do that. Yeah. Don, what's up?
With the exam, we can take that more than once.
You can take
Or,
that
like-
as many times as you like. You can start now, and as long as you're done by Sunday, you're set.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, and only the highest score will stick. But however, each time you take it, the questions are slightly different. So, because what the way the system works, they have a question bank, and each time the test is opened up, it pulls from that bank. So you can't really just be doing a bunch of screenshots over and over.
I see some head nodding, like some folks have already discovered that there's a ginormous test bank, and so every time you open it, the questions are different or a little different. I see some head nods, like, oh yeah. But just keep taking it. So if you take it one time and you get a 70, and you want something higher, and you take it again, and you're like, oh, I got a 50. The highest you got was a 70. So if you take it again after that, you can go up. It'll never take your lowest. It'll take the highest you've ever done. You take it 20 times, the highest score you got of those 20 times, that's the one that it'll take. I hope you don't have to take it 20 times. Y'all will not have to take it 20 times.
Oh yeah, that would be me. I'd be the guy out there 20 times. Yeah, Kenneth, what's up?
Hey, so we have 90 minutes. So what happens at 91 minutes? Does it boot us out?
Boot you out, and what you got is what you got at that point in time.
Okay.
So, but that doesn't prevent you from starting it and taking it again.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
I also don't think it's going to take near that long. I'm thinking the head nods will probably concur with that. I don't think it'll take you 90 minutes to take it. I think that's a very generous time frame that you're given.
Yeah, I did it, and it was like 20, 25 minutes or so, and I was kind of flipping back and forth and doing other things at the same time. So I have a feeling most of the people in this class will get through it relatively quickly. Yeah, so 90 minutes is real generous. Just remember, you can take it as many times as you like. Please do not procrastinate on this. If you can get it done today, get it done today, because we cannot help you after Sunday night. Any questions about that? Thoughts, concerns? All right, ladies and gents, let's move on to the world of baked custard. Baked custard goes by several different aliases out there. We want to make sure that nobody gets confused. Baked custard is basically it's a custard made with whole eggs and either milk or cream. Those eggs, when baked, congeal, and that's what forms that custard like texture that it has. Some of the dishes that we traditionally associate with baked custard would be creme brulee, flan, and creme caramel. But creme caramel and flan are virtually the same thing. They just come from different continents. Some people like to claim that flan is traditionally made with the sweetened condensed milk, whereas creme caramel can be made with cream or fat. Over here on the left-hand side of the screen is a picture of creme brulee. Creme brulee is the baked custard that is topped with granulated sugar and then uses a blowtorch to take care of that, to give it that caramelized. Creme brulee means burnt cream, and it's very common. Each serving has about 760 calories, so technically it should be served with a defibrillator. But other than that, it's pretty good. Any questions about what baked custard is? Alejandro.
You're cracking me up today, Chef. That's awesome.
Too much sun, too much sun. Alejandro.
I just wanted to give a tiny little tip that I discovered when I make creme brulee at my job. If you start out from the outer edge and then let it melt a little bit, and then just keep moving forward, making sure the sugar melts completely, and then you can finish it off in the middle and then wherever else you want to.
Yeah, that's a good tip. That's a good tip. There's lots of different variants out there. A lot of people will use straight granulated sugar. When we're doing large banquets with creme brulee, we'll cut that granulated sugar. with brown sugar, which is granulated sugar with molasses, which will help give that melted effect a little bit quicker. And then we'll do multiple passes over it to help that out. But creme brulees are absolutely fantastic and worth living for. Now we're going to take a look at some of the kitchen equipment that is associated with making baked custard. We have, is this, what's this fellow's name up here? Chef Suzanne, Squigmeyer?
Squidward, chef.
It's Squid, I thought that was Squigmeyer.
That's Squidward.
It's Squidward.
Squidward, okay.
So much older than you were just a minute ago.
Well, no, my children watch this all the time, but obviously you can tell I don't pay that close of attention.
That's Squidward.
The man who lives under the sea in a giant pineapple, right? Is that how the song goes?
It is, but that's SpongeBob. This is his next door neighbor, but it's okay. We'll talk about it later.
All right. Crab Shack. Krabby Shack. Yeah. All right, ladies and gents, over here on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see this kind of an oblong type dish. A lot of people refer to these as being ramekins. Technically, they're referred to as rarebit dishes, and this is traditionally what we'll serve a creme brulee in some of the finer restaurants. Over here on the right-hand side of the screen, these are ramekins. They're generally 3 to 4 ounces in size. Obviously, if you're using a ramekin for this week's assignment, you're going to have a different cooking time than if you use a rarebit dish because of the depth of the product. So the rarebit dish will probably cook a little bit quicker because it has a lot more surface exposed to the heat, whereas the ramekin is a lot thicker, less surface area exposed to the heat, and will have a longer cooking time. That's why it is not in the recipe the specific amount of time that it's supposed to be in the oven, but we'll get to that here in just a moment. Blowtorch is something that we commonly use in kitchens for a multitude of different things, from searing specific items after we sous vide them, but we also use them for making creme brulee. Hotel pan down here is what we traditionally cook the hotel or the creme brulee in. However, this week you could probably get away with using a cookie sheet. You're just going to need something that'll hold a little bit of water, which we'll get to in a moment. And then in the video, she talks about using a fine mesh strainer. This is what we refer to as a chinois. A chinois is a very common piece of restaurant equipment that we use to strain demi-glace and other sauces, as well as custards, ice creams. It's a very smooth, silky texture. Don, what's up?
What if we don't have any of those ramekins or rare bits?
They are available in a multitude of different ways. I think Walmart, and Chef Suzanne might help me out with this, sells aluminum disposable ones. I've seen people actually use coffee cups that create that same shape, which would be fine to work with. And what else do you suggest, Chef Suzanne?
Very small bowls. Sometimes saucers, like your saucers that come with your coffee cups. You've got some older ones, like maybe grandma may have had, that have a deeper center. So I've seen those. Anything that's technically going to be deep enough to hold your baked custard, and then also make sure no water gets up inside, as long as it's going to be oven safe. It's just hard to make it in something too large.
I've even seen people use muffin tins before.
That might work.
Yeah, to do that. So muffin tins, the aluminum disposable ones, I know Walmart sells them. And I bet you Chef Suzanne's at walmart.com right now looking if I could make a wild guess. And because she's always 2 steps ahead. And since we're on that subject as well, Dawn, which I think that was a fantastic question, don't run out and buy a chinois right away. They're relatively expensive, $80-$90. You could use the finest mesh strainer that you have. That will work as well. Did you find anything, Chef Suzanne? Not yet?
Not yet. I'm still looking.
All right, Don. So as soon as we find out some additional information, we'll let you know.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Alejandro, what's up?
This is a blowtorch I have. Is that fine?
Yeah, you can utilize that. This week's assignment does not require you to do the creme brulee. However, if you want to do creme brulee, that's perfectly fine because we like that. So that's not an issue. Good question. Thank you. Ronald, what's up?
Hi, Chef. Can we use cheesecloth for a strainer if we have the chinois?
You can use a cheesecloth for the strainer. Whenever it comes to working with cheesecloth, make sure that you dampen it first, which prevents the cheesecloth from caving in. So you're going to dampen it, get as much moisture out as you can, and then unfold it about half, not all the way, but about half, and then line that in your strainer, whatever you have, and then pour your custard mix through that. So good question.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gents, on to talking a little bit more about the more common varieties. Creme brulee, and we mentioned the big difference between a traditional baked custard and creme brulee is going to be the caramelization of sugar over the top, which is done with white granulated sugar and a blowtorch. So you have, when your guests bite into it, it'll be a tough cracking surface that they go through. And that is pictured right up here. And then creme caramel, flan, caramel dessert, or pudding is, as it's also known as, a custard dessert with a layer of clear caramel sauce at the bottom. And there is information about that in the book, but you do not need to do that for this week's assignment. So we wanted to clarify that because the video in this week's class is about creme brulee and the recipe is for baked custard. It's the same procedure. It's the same dish. The only difference would be creme brulee has the sugar on the top. Ladies and gents, taking a look at our recipe this week, my suggestions is before you start this recipe, you need to make sure that you gather your mise en place and measure everything out, okay? The reason is you're working with tempering eggs and scalding a dairy product. If you have to leave and move back and forth, that's when things get messed up. So take a few minutes, gather all your mise en place, and then portion everything out. Vanilla beans, if you cannot find vanilla beans, you can substitute vanilla extract. It's quite simple. All the portions and stuff are in the actual recipe, so you don't need to follow this. And then egg yolks. A big suggestion when it comes to separating egg yolks for the bakery process, always crack your eggs on flat surfaces. Never do it on a corner because that's what creates small shells. You want to crack your egg, and then you're going to rock your egg back and forth, allowing the egg whites to drop into a separate container that you can save for something else, and then your egg yolks will go into another container. We try to avoid touching egg yolks or eggs with our hands, especially egg whites, because our hands have oils on them, and if you're going to use those egg whites for meringues or something else down the road, the oils from your skin will retard the process. You want to avoid doing that. And then as well, the #1 way that we spread foodborne illness in the United States is with our hands. Foodborne viruses, rather. Norovirus and Hep A are the 2 most common types. So we want to minimize touching food if at all possible. As well, for this week's recipe, make sure that you are using heavy cream. That's very, very important. It has a much higher fat content. It'll greatly affect the outcome of your baked custard. Any questions about the ingredients?
I did find some information for you, Chef.
Oh, let's hear it.
So Walmart does indeed, as Chef said, have several options for smaller pans. They normally come they're like tart size, and then there's some that are a little larger. Looks like they're half-pound size, so something like that might work. I actually was looking up on a website also. Something else that will work is small glass jars, which I had not thought of. That was actually really good. So if you've got little glass jars, so maybe if you're a glass jar saver, because I know people save glass jars, so little glass jars, like Chef had said, coffee mugs. So definitely some options.
That's right. We're kind of in that trend where people like to use mason jars now, aren't we? Yeah, it's kind of funny. All of you out there, and I'm sure Chef Suzanne can say something about this too. You're going to see a lot of trends in culinary arts. If we would have served food in mason jars 30 years ago, we would have been shot. We would have been taken outside. We probably would have been, leave the country, right? But now today, that's a real common thing. And so you see all these trends kind of come and go, and it's kind of neat to see how things evolve and be a part of those trends as well. Sabina, what's up?
So I kind of have a question, just because I may want to actually fully eat this recipe or this item. Has anybody tried making it with a sugar substitute like erythritol, monk fruit?
You can, and I have.
Does it work?
There is a difference in the flavoring profile because the sugar does play in the jellification of the product in its final cooking. So there is a variance in flavor.
Will it brulee?
That stuff, I don't think it'll brulee. I would not put my money on it.
Okay.
Because, yeah, but it's.
I'll just taste it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Sabina. Ronald, what's up?
Jeff, can we use like conventional milk to substitute for heavy cream, or is it too different?
No. It's going to be very, very different, your final product. That heavy cream has a fat content of about 18%. Which really comes into play with the mouthfeel of the product. So when you start substituting the dairies, especially if you go from a milk or a canned milk versus heavy cream, the way it feels in your mouth is radically different. So definitely stick with the heavy cream if at all possible.
All right, thank you.
Sound good?
It's good.
All right, ladies and gents, let's take a look at a couple of the techniques. Make sure that you do preheat your oven to the appropriate temperature. If you are working with vanilla beans for this, which I recommend, but not everybody has them, and sometimes they can be tough to get, so don't lose any sleep if you can't get them. Make sure you split them in half lengthwise, and then just add that directly into your milk as your cream as you're scalding it. Last week, we mentioned the fact that scalding is bringing the dairy product up to 180 degrees. And we also talked about tempering last week, and that's where we bring two different substances to like temperatures. So you're going to scald your cream with your vanilla. And then in a separate bowl, you're going to whisk your sugar and egg yolks together until they're smooth. You're not going to be able to dissolve all of the sugar, so don't sit there and do that all day. But when it says pale in color, that means you've incorporated some oxygen and a little bit of air into that, and that's what you're looking for. Once your cream has scalded, you're going to slowly whisk it into your bowl with the eggs and sugar. Make sure that you are whisking vigorously. That is the tempering process. You're bringing the two different ingredients to like temperatures. After you have created that mixture, you're going to strain the custard through a fine mesh, preferably into some type of container that you can pour out of. So if you have a measuring cup that has a lip on it, that would be perfect. And that straining is going to get any impurities or any lumps of sugar or any pieces of egg or anything else in there that will prevent it from creating that smooth, creamy texture. Then you're going to arrange ramekins on a 2-inch. If it's only an inch deep, it's okay. That'll be fine. But you're going to arrange your ramekins on that sheet pan, cookie pan, hotel pan, if you have one, preferably. And then you're going to fill each ramekin about 3/4 of the way full with custard mix. You do not need to prep the ramekins. You do not need to spray them or do anything to them. And then once that is done, you're going to take the sheet with the custard, the ramekins on it, and place that into the middle rack in your oven. And then you will pour some hot water onto the sheet pan. Make sure that you do not get any of that hot water into the actual custard mix. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have noticed over the years that those racks in your oven pull in and pull out. So a trick that we do in the restaurant industry is we'll pull it out, we'll set the sheet pan down with the ramekins, with the custard, we'll put it onto that rack, then we'll add the water, and then we'll slowly push it back into the oven. do it that way. It'll make your life a lot easier, trust me. Any questions about that? Sound good? All right, ladies and gents. So once you've done that, you're going to leave them in there. This is the tricky part. We cannot tell you it's going to take exactly 38 minutes to cook your custard because it all depends on the size of those ramekins. So it's very difficult. What you're looking for, it's going to feel relatively firm. You can make a small wrist like this or a small fist like this, and then you can touch right here, and that's about what you're feeling for right there. The center will have a slight jiggle to it, but the outside will feel relatively firm, not hard, firm. You'll be able to press, you'll be able to give a little bit. You can cover it if you choose to, but it's not absolutely necessary. And then once they are done cooking, it could take anywhere from 30 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on the size of your ramekins. But you're looking for that feel, like I was just talking about. And then you're going to lift the ramekins out of your oven, and then you can dump the sheet pan with water. And then highly recommended that you let them cool on wire racks, which allows the air to circulate underneath. And then once they are cool enough, you can place them into your refrigerator. They will last for a couple of days in there with no problems. Any questions about that, ladies and gents? No? All right. Moving on to our week 12 assignment. Let's see if we can pull this up here. Okay, once again, self-identification photo. Dawn has absolutely the best self-identification photo. That's going to go down in the history book. And then obviously the picture of your mise en place, sanitation bucket, and then custard after stovetop cooking and prepared ramekins, water bath. We need a picture of that. Custards after baking and chilled, and then hold one on its side to show that it is set. So you're just going to hold it at an angle. And then plated presentation of baked custard. The creme brulee is optional, so I know Alejandro just mentioned he has a quart, so if you'd like to do that, please go ahead. And then a spoonful of custard to show its finished consistency. You should be able to scoop it out and taste it. Don, what's up?
I just had a question about how, like in those photos you showed earlier of like the creme brulee, not the creme brulee, the caramel one. How did you get them out of the containers and have that shape?
Okay, once you're done baking, let me back up and explain this the right way. Okay, so once you're done baking, it's been in there 45 minutes, an hour. You feel it's nice and firm, right? It feels like cooked eggs. It's nice and firm. The center still has a little bit of jiggle. You pull it out, you put it on to the wire rack, you allow it to cool, that air to circulate, and then you're going to put it in your refrigerator for a couple of hours until it's nice and set. The way to pop it out and get that nice shape is you're going to take the very tip of a paring knife. So if this is a paring knife, you're only going to use about that much of the tip. Do not insert all the way in. Only insert about ½ inch on the very side, okay? And then you're going to go around the container just to loosen the very, very edge. Make sure that the angle of your paring knife is at the same angle as the side of the ramekin, because if you point in, you will cut in, if that makes any sense. And then you will simply just turn it upside down, and then that caramel that is in there will flow over the top, and it will hold its shape when it's done. Does that make sense, Don?
Awesome, yes. Okay. I was interested in trying to making that.
Yeah, it's actually a wonderful dish, and that caramel on the bottom, to make life real simple, you want to take about 1 cup of sugar, and then you're going to pour in there just about 3 tablespoons of water. Let it cook till it gets that nice caramel color, and then you'll put about a tablespoon on the bottom of each ramekin. You're going to let it solidify just a little bit, and then pour the custard mix over the top, and then throw it in the oven.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Madeline.
Hi, Chef. If we decide do the brulee option, do we still have to do a sauce and a garnish, or does the brulee count as that?
Well, the garnish we'd really like to see, but the sauce is just it's not required.
Okay.
So you don't even have to brulee it. That's not a requirement either, but we'd like to see it. I think it's kind of cool. And this class has done some really great things with garnishes, and so we'd like to see those as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, ladies and gents, so don't forget your narrative this week. That is very, very important. Someday you'll be so thankful about the narratives. They mean so much. And then, ladies and gents, just a quick recap of tonight's live session. This class has been absolutely awesome. Chef Suzanne and I really appreciate the opportunity to be a part of your experience here at Escoffier. Do not forget to take the end of course survey located at the top of the class page. It is extra credit. Everybody can always use a little bit of extra credit, so make sure you take advantage of it. It'll take you just a couple of minutes to fill it out, and it really helps us improve the program. And then please remember that this week's assignment is due no later than Sunday, June 23rd at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. Unfortunately, we cannot accept any late assignments this week, and your final exam must be done before Sunday, June 23rd as well. So those are the very, very important things to bring up. Yes.
Chef, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I am here, sort of. A tree fell and hit a power line with a storm, and so I'm here, but I'm really not all here. I'm sitting in darkness right now, but I had to be here to say goodbye to everybody.
Oh, the old tree excuse. Oh, that was it.
It really did. My daughter saw it hit.
As long as you're okay, that's all that matters.
We are good. I'm just in darkness, so I didn't want to everybody think I just bailed on them.
I was looking on the screen and I couldn't see you, and I thought I'm all alone again. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm glad you're still with us. Steven, what's up? Steven. Steven. Are you there, Steven? Steven. Got to unmute yourself.
How about now?
Ah, there you go.
All right, awesome. I was just wondering, I have 10-ounce ramekins. Would that be too much? Should I just do like a half a?
Yeah, those are pretty big for a 10-ounce ramekin. That's something that we would use for like a large family-sized souffle or like a baked casserole type dish in the restaurant industry. So I would recommend not using those because your bake time, what's going to happen, the exterior of that big custard is going to be overcooked by the time the interior gets done.
Right. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Chef Suzanne. Chef Suzanne.
I am here.
Let's say goodbye to this awesome class. I think we're going to wrap it up real quick. Any final words, Chef Suzanne?
I do. It has been such a great class, such a great 12 weeks. You've all come so far in that 12 weeks, and it has been my pleasure. And thank you so much for sharing all of your beautiful food pictures with me. I have enjoyed them more than you'll ever know. So please stay in contact. Even after you leave, I love to travel and I love to eat. So don't forget about me.
Oh, those are wonderful words of wisdom. Ladies and gents, always remember where you started and where you ended up because we have seen a lot of progress over the last 12 weeks in this class, which you should be awfully proud of yourselves for doing that. So that tells me everybody in this class is moving forward, which I absolutely love. And I look forward to working with a lot of you in CU 132 for the next block, which begins July the 10th. Make sure that you log in and post attendance that day. It's very, very important. And as we come to a close, all assignments this week are due no later than Sunday, June 23rd. And your final exam must be done by Sunday, June the 23rd. And please do not forget to do the end of course survey, which is extra credit. Don, what's up?
Yes, Chef. I wanted to find out, how do I find out which, like my next class, or who I'm with, and like, who am I in Chef?
Most likely you're going into 132 cuisines of the world, and student support would be the ones that can give you the exact.
And that begins, you said July
10th.
So in essence, we have like a week off is what with like, we have like a week without a class.
Yeah, it's like 14 days in total.
That actually works because I needed some time off.
Yeah, you're pretty good. Actually, this is the first year that we're having kind of an extended summer break, which is kind of a neat experience. We really like that because I can go on vacation too.
Yeah, I'm heading out of town for a week to work at a kitchen for a summer camp, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to do that. Hey,
there you go. Yeah, we wrap up June 26th, which is next Wednesday. I think class ends on Tuesday, June 25th, and then it does not reconvene until July.
All right, well then see you guys then.
Ciao. Everybody enjoy your break, and thank you very, very much for an awesome 12 weeks, and I hope everybody is safe, and I look forward to working with you. Stay in touch. Bye, everybody.